everyone take their seats. Well, that got quiet really fast. But I do this for our meetings with principals. It does not go that quickly at all, so you're way better than our site administrators when I'm commanding a meeting. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm Heather Contreras. I'm the superintendent of Pajaro Valley Unified School District, and this is our State of the District. This has been in effect for about 9 years now, so this is our 9th State of the District, and this is my 2nd State of the District. I've been here for a little over 18 months, and I'm really excited to be presenting this information to you. For some of you who have been following the district lately, we've been having some challenging information that we've been delivering in the community. We have been out to all of our schools, and we have been to many of our different community partners talking about our budget. And that's not a fun thing to talk about right now. We're going to talk about it for just a tiny bit later today. But today is really a great time to celebrate the amazing things that we have happening in our district. And we do have a lot of amazing things happening with amazing teachers, amazing employees, and amazing students. And so today is a time to celebrate those things that are happening in our district. And as you can see to my right and to my left, we're going to show off some of those amazing things this morning. And as you know, as you walked in, we had some students that we were showcasing as well. So thank you for being here to hear about that. Before we get started, putting on an event like this takes months. We have people who are helping with the presentation, people who are helping to set up the chairs, all the invitations that go out, but also all of the preparation in just even showcasing the things that we do. And so I'd like to take a moment to recognize all of the staff that helps. So all of the district office personnel, if you could just give a wave. Thank you to all of you. You are my right hand, my left hand, my feet, my head, my shoulders, my everything. What I have learned in 18 months of being in this district is I could not have a better group of people to work with. You've accepted me from the minute I came here, and you continue to just be a stellar group of people. We also have people outside of the district office who have helped, our maintenance crew, our tech crew, and I see some of them back in the corner over there, and I think there are people scattered around as well. If you guys could raise your hands. They've been here from very early this morning, setting this up. And so now, without further ado, we're going to kick off this event by listening to our Mustang Mallet from McQuitty, who are directed by our teacher, Mirren Holland. And they're going to provide some music for us on their mallets inspired by Zimbabwe. Outstanding. So PVUSD has always had a long history of celebrating the arts, and you can see the talent that we've built in PVUSD. Excellent job, the Mustang Mallet. One of the things that Proposition 28 has done for us is to ensure that the arts will always be protected. Once a law is put into place, it is very difficult to get a law out of place. And Proposition 28 ensures that we will always have funding for the arts and keep the arts solidly in place in PVUSD. So excellent job, Mustang Mallet. On my right-hand side, we have Lakeview Middle School with Susanna Blake, who is our Lakeview Middle School band teacher. An amazing teacher, one of the very first people I ever met in PVUSD. We had my Listen and Learn journey and a meet and greet, and Susanna came up to me right away. Susanna, do you remember that conversation? Because I remember it very well. She told me all about her plans for the band, and she has delivered over and over again with what she's done with her students. And so today we're going to hear some recording work. And the songs that have been selected are songs of resilience from our country. And I think it's very timely that we hear this ensemble that shows the spirit of our country during troubling times. students, and thank you, Susan. We always start these events with our students because in education, of course, it's the students that matter and come first. So thank you for being here and helping us to celebrate what we do best, which is educate our students. So we have a number of people in the room who are important to us and help us to do our job best. One is Dr. Ferris Sabah, our county superintendent. So Ferris. We also have Trustee Flynn, who is one of our Board of Education trustees. She was here for about 30 minutes. Work duties did call, and that is one thing I do want to point out about our Board of Education trustees. They are elected officials. And they do this from the bottom of their hearts. They're not paid to do this work, and they all have other jobs on top of this very, very challenging and time-consuming work. And so when they're here and doing these things, it is in addition to all of the things that life demands. And so it was great that she was able to make that time and be here. We also have Olivia Flores, our board president. Senator John Mayer, who's always been here. And then our student trustee, Desi Salinas Holtz. We'll be hearing from them shortly. So over the last year, we have had our board president, Olivia Flores, who has been by my side consistently and has shown some tremendous leadership over the last year. One of the ways that she has shown and demonstrated tremendous leadership is to recognize that as we were forming a new board with 5 new board members, which is a very unique thing to have happen to a board. Boards are designed so that you actually never do have 5 members turn over at one time. So when that happens, it is very unique and has different challenges as you work to form a new team. And we are indeed a governance team. And so Olivia, in her wisdom as a board president, recognized that we should probably invest in some special training to help us form that governance team. A school board is very powerful. They set the tone and the foundation for what will happen in the school district. And Olivia, having been an experienced board member, knew this. And so she sought to ensure that our board had the foundation that it would need to lead us forward. She's done a remarkable job this year, and one of the things that will be the hallmark of her leadership was to engage us in training as a governance team. And that training, we'll be hearing more about that this morning with AJ Craybill from Effective School Boards. But for now, we are going to hear from Olivia Flores, our board president.
Good morning, PVUSD community. Thank you for being here today. It is a privilege to be in your company as we reflect on the state of the district. At a moment of celebration, this is a moment of celebration and accomplishments. Introducing new initiatives, recognizing our challenges, and renewing our shared commitment to all of our 15,000 students. We have the honor of serving here at PVUSD. This year we have seen remarkable growth in our schools. Our students continue to demonstrate resilience, creativity, and academic progress. Our teachers, our staff go above and beyond every day to ensure that our classrooms are a place of opportunity, innovation, and care. Our families and partners, you remain the foundation of our success. Thank you. As a board, we are deeply focused on student achievement, equity, and fiscal responsibility. Through initiatives like our Budget Roadshow, we have worked to make our financial planning transparent and inclusive, ensuring that all of our community has a voice and can help shape the future of PVUSD. We also recognize that leadership begins with learning. Our board remains committed to ongoing professional growth through effective school board trainings, strengthening our ability to govern collaboratively and make data-informed decisions, and to uphold the trust placed in us by this community. And always ensuring that student outcomes are the center of our time, attention, and decisions. Looking ahead, we are investing in safe and modern learning environments and expanding academic and career paths and support systems that meet the whole child's needs. Because every student deserves a chance to thrive. And speaking of learning environments, I would be remiss if I didn't take this time to express my deep gratitude with all of you, our community, for your support through Measure L and M, which have made and continue to make these upgrades and modernizations across our district possible. Thank you. Together, we are not only building strong schools, we are strengthening our entire community. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to thank our educators, our staff, our families, and our community partners for your continued trust and dedication. The state of the district is strong because of you, and our future is bright because we are moving forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President Flores. So last year, our student trustee was Daniel Escada, and Daniel texted me last night from Washington, D.C. He is still following what's happening here in Cajaro Valley, and he wanted to say hi to everyone, especially to Senator Laird. If you'll remember, well, some of you might, I definitely do. I know that Senator Laird will remember, but I joked when I introduced Daniel that I was certain that Daniel someday would end up taking Senator Laird's position, and now Daniel is off in Washington, D.C., getting his studies done, and he does want to have a career in politics. So he says hi, and he's watching us from afar. And I am very certain that our new student trustee is going to have a very equally star-studded career at some point. And I'm very honored to have Desi Salinas-Holz sitting by my side at our board meetings, and he is truly going to be just as wonderful of a trustee as Daniel was, and is following in wonderful footsteps. Desi is a senior at Watsonville High School, and is helping to lead our Student Core Advisory Council. So that is 11 students who meet with me prior to board meetings and help to lead what we call our Inter-High Council. Our Inter-High Council is all of the ASBs in our district from our comprehensive high schools, but also our alt-ed high schools, who review our board agendas and then give feedback to Desi to be able to report back at board meetings what their feelings are about our agendas and the things happening and the decisions being made in our district. Desi also leads our Superintendent's Advisory Council, which is a group of 40 students from all of the high schools, comprehensive high schools and alternative high schools across the district. And these students are working on 2 different policies that will be recommended to the Board of Education this year. One policy is the homework policy, and the other will be our cell phone policy. And Desi has demonstrated tremendous leadership in these policies and in leading his fellow students. So it is my pleasure to introduce Desi Salinas-Holz.
Dr. Contreras. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I think we go a little off script, but first off, I want to just quick thought thank our district and especially our school board for welcoming me so much to our district and allowing me opportunities like today to speak. And I've had I'm going to talk about it, but there's been several other ribbon cutting events where I've been able to speak, and I really appreciate that our district puts not just me but other student voices first and allows them to be part of the decision, part of the conversation when decision making comes. So for those who don't know me, I need to get closer to the mic. My name is Desi Salinas-Holz. I'm a senior at Watsonville High School and the PVUSD student trustee for the 2025 to 2026 school year. And the student trustee, as Dr. Contreras said, it is my responsibility to host both the Inter-High Council meetings and the Student Advisory Council meetings, which are done with the help of Superintendent Dr. Contreras. And in these meetings, I work with students across the district to reconstruct district policies, such as the cell phone policy and homework policy. These meetings are just one of many examples of how our district puts students first and is always willing to include students in the conversation in order to ensure their voices are heard. In just a few months, I have been student trustee. I have also participated in several new ribbon-cutting events for district resources, such as the Family Center at Pajaro Middle School, the Black Box Theater at PD, the new playground at Landmark Elementary, and most importantly to me as a Wildcat, the Watsonville High School athletic field. Along with these recent events, I regularly attend year-round events from across the schools, and every single one of them I'm blown away by what our community and district has accomplished. Perhaps my favorite event that is put on by our district is the annual Pride Flag raising at the district office, which happens every May. It is a heartfelt event that includes students, parents, and staff. Now, why have I mentioned these events? Well, I would like to say that despite the difficulties our district has faced in the past few months, we remain a district that welcomes all and does its best to put the students first, and I believe that is what we are celebrating here today. It is events like the ones I've mentioned that really bring me back to the core values of our district, and that despite struggles on the board or the financial things that I know there's going to be maybe difficult being talked about it later, but bringing us back to our core values, I think we are a wonderful district, and I'm very proud to be part of PVUSD. Like I just said, my favorite part about our district is our inclusivity and the determination we have to ensure all students succeed. Thank you all for coming to this wonderful event today. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I know that was brief. And I look forward to another great year for 2026.
One thing Desi did not share about himself is he is also an all-star athlete. Very busy and accomplished student, and doing mock trial. So also today, we are going to hear from Maria Orozco. Maria Orozco is our current mayor of Watsonville, and she has also been on the school board and is a huge supporter of PVUSD. And also the arts in education, the arts in Watsonville, and education in general. So, Maria, thank you for being here for us.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Watsonville Civic Plaza Community Room. I appreciate seeing some of our educators, administrators, staff, community partners here this morning. You are the people who move this district forward, and your commitment shows up in our schools every single day. I am a proud PVUSD graduate from Starlight Elementary School to Freedom Elementary School to Rolling Hills Middle School and later on to Outpost High School. Those schools played a real role in my life, and I still carry those experiences with me to this day. I arrived in this country not speaking a word of English. I was learning a new language, a new school system, and a new way of life all at once. But what kept me from falling behind were the teachers and the migrant education program who stayed with me every step. Some taught me English during the breaks. Others pushed me because they knew I had more in me. And a few refused to settle for a B. I still remember their names: Mrs. Pugh, Mrs. Colbeck, Mr. Rainburn, Mrs. Jackson, Mrs. Dew. I mean, the list goes on. Their consistency and belief in me gave me confidence and direction. And that's exactly what strong schools do. They notice students, they challenge them, and they make sure that no one's overlooked. We also understand that students learn in different ways. Some connect through reading, math, and science. Others find their strengths in music, art, or athletics. These programs are essential because they help students stay engaged and connected in school. But we also have to acknowledge the realities ahead. The district is facing budget constraints and declining enrollment. These are serious challenges that require steady leadership and shared responsibility. In moments like these, we don't lose focus, we sharpen it. That means keeping student-centered approach at the heart of every decision we make, supporting the whole child, the whole community, the whole family, and involving the entire community is simply not optional. It's essential. Personalized learning, wraparound services, and strong social emotional supports keep students stable and ready to learn, especially under uncertain times. And we must maintain high expectations. Our students are capable and driven. They rise when we challenge them and give them the support that they need. They meet the expectations we set, and many times they exceed them. What strengthens this district is the way all of us work together. Families, teachers, classified staff, administrators, community partners, and the city. When we move in the same direction, students have a real chance to succeed in college and career. And we build a future and allow them to build a future here in Watsonville, in our community. So to this morning, I just want to thank you for your work, the work that often goes unseen, but changes the trajectory of students' lives. I look forward to hearing how the district will continue building opportunities, expanding supports, and helping every student discover their potential. I want to thank Superintendent Heather Contreras, the Board of Trustees, for their leadership and for inviting us to be part of this conversation about where the district is and where it is headed. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. We have a couple of elected officials too who are represented right now from Speaker Rivas's office. Thank you, Zelda. Thank you for being here. And from Tony Nunez. Thank you. Thank you for being here to support us. We always feel that support and see you at all of our events and know that you support education, support the needs of the school, and that anytime that we know we need representation and need help, that we can reach out to you. And that has always been important to us, and we know that you're there, so thank you. And now we have Senator Laird. Senator Laird reached out to me probably, I think, in my first week of being in PVUSD. And I remember last year saying I considered him a friend, and I do. And I know that he is a friend of the district and has been here for us through really tough times. The Pajaro Valley flood, advocating to help our district, to help Watsonville, and to help this region and this area. Anytime that we need something, we know that we have an advocate in education, a fierce advocate in education, and that we always know where we can go and have someone to come to. So, and you're always here whenever we need someone to speak to on behalf of education. And so it is a great pleasure to have John Laird come and speak for us.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. And if Daniel's still watching, the second half of that story is he said he wanted maybe to be a senator one day, and I said I was really glad that he was too young to have run against me last year. That story did not get told after watching him in action. And it's great to see the students in music. What I like to do, I have visited the music classes. I visited El Sistema. A few weeks ago, I talked to an avid class at Aptos Middle School, and it really helps me to get out and see what's going on, what the district is doing, and it helps me in my job. And I wanted to just start with a random thing, and that is I was just gone for 2 days, and I got home yesterday morning, and my spouse says, let's stream a movie. And it's like, okay, you just pick it. And so he picked this one that's just out that's called The Lost Bus, and stars Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera. And it is about a school bus driver and a school teacher in paradise. And they just report to work on a normal morning where there's high winds. And within an hour, they have 25 kids behind the fire in a bus and are trying to save their lives. And at one point, they said there was this drop-off point for the parents at the elementary school. and they're starting through the fire to the elementary school, and I'm shouting at the TV, "No, it's on fire, don't go there." I was there with the governor a couple of days later, and all that was left of that school was the jungle gyms. And while this was a drama, and it was really about the rescue and the tenseness and making it through the fire, when it was all done, I sort of realized it was about a teacher, it was about a bus driver that just showed up at work, and the next thing you know, they're having to save the lives of 25 kids. And it's just part of who they are and what they do and what the expectation is. And so I think that's why it's important in these every year to thank the teachers, to thank the classified employees, to know that if the earthquake hit in the next hour, they would be in the middle of it with the lives of kids and the health of kids, and they would be stepping up. So I just think it's important to mention that. And these are bizarre times. And while I briefly want to talk about the budget in a moment, what's going on that's affecting our communities and our schools, given the national climate right now. I mean, just take food, and I see Erica Padilla-Chavez here. When schools closed down for the pandemic and senior centers and child care centers, we put $300 million of the state budget into food banks to fill the gap, and we are still continuing to do that. This year we did 60 million because even though the pandemic's gone, food's back at all the sites, there's still so many people falling through the cracks. And after the bill passed federally, even though we didn't have a lot of money, at the end of session we just put another 20 million into the food banks and trying to bridge that gap, and it's something we know we will have to do. The superintendent mentioned healthcare, and we worked so hard to save Watsonville Hospital, and this is the year. Tony Nunez is here. If you think the school board doesn't get paid anything trying to be on the Watsonville Hospital, and they're challenged because of their revenues in this. This was the year that Watsonville Hospital was finally going to be in the black, and now they're challenged the same way. And with immigration, we work hard to protect everybody, there not be discrimination, that people feel safe, which is a challenge, and we really have to do it. So all these issues are above the normal ones right now as we try to make sure that we can navigate these cuts, these horrible attitudes, the things that are going on. And then you get to the budget, and this year we had a $12 billion problem in the state budget. And in the end, we were able to get a 2.3% increase to K through 14. And while 2.3% doesn't keep up with inflation and labor contracts, it's not a cut. In a $12 billion budget, we were able to move ahead. And my big challenge is chairing the Education Budget Subcommittee was UC and CSU. The governor wanted to cut them by 8%, and we fought him all the way back to 0. And so even though, and it took 5 months, even though that once again, there's a strike going on at UCSC today, and they still have labor contracts and inflation, but at least they don't have an 8% cut, which would have been a de facto 11 or 12 or 13% cut. And now we head into next year, and we have an anomalous budget potentially happening. And that's from artificial intelligence and AI, there's so much revenue that we might be net even. We might actually be able to just fight, but at the same time, the next years are still projected for deficits. So the question is what can we do? And we have the problem across the state. Across the state, it's not unique to you, of declining enrollment and other issues, and trying to figure out how we plug those gaps. And as laudatory as the superintendent was about how arts money is always locked in, actually the governor initially wanted to cut what was in the budget for arts and just use the initiative to fill in behind it. We had to fight to make sure that the initiative was still a step ahead. It wasn't just displacing other money, and when you saw the students here today, that is what we were trying to make sure is happening. So I just wanted to let you know that in the face of difficult times, we are all fighting, and we are all standing up on those issues, and we're counting on you to do the same thing, because just to close, I actually was educated in a school district in the city of Vallejo that went into receivership, that went under. It was one of those school districts that happened to it. When I was in the assembly, we were debating about covering their money, and there were certain faction in the legislature that was going to try to block it for other things. And I had to stand up and say, I think I'm the only person in the legislature that went through this school district, and we all expected you, the adults, to just make sure the school was there every day and the teachers were there every day, and they didn't want to make sure there was some political game that was getting in the way of that. And that is what we have to do now. And when the going gets tough, it brings out the best of us. Sometimes we do our best work when we're under those challenges. Well, now we have to. We don't have any choice. And I'm convinced that if you look at the progress that we see here in this district, whether it's in food programs or music programs, when I was working at the hearings on the bill to say Watsonville Hospital, I'll just remind you, I used the statistics from the annual Papero School District report on housing instability, on English language learners, those things, to demonstrate to the other legislators who we were dealing with in saving that hospital. And so it is important for me. Now the expectation is high. I come every year. And I cover 1 million people over 4 counties, and I will do my best to be here every year until I'm done. But it's important for me to be here to sort of acknowledge the work that you've done, the fact that you're making a fundamental difference, and the fact that you don't have to do anything, but I feel the pressure from you to just make sure there are no cuts, that we keep supporting you, that we keep supporting this system, because it makes all the difference for the kids of this district. So thanks very much.
Thank you. So as we move into our 25-26 school year, we continue to fight for our students. We want to improve our outcomes for our students, and we want to stay laser-like focused on the outcomes for students. We do have a lot of work to do with our budget, and we have a lot of work to do for our outcomes for students. But as we've learned, and what the research states, is that it is very difficult to outperform your school board. Your school board really is the foundation of a well-functioning, high-performing school district. And Olivia Flores and the Board of Trustees knew this information and has studied that themselves. So we really do have a school board that is first and foremost 100% dedicated to students. They do want to see students succeed, and they do have students at the heart of everything that they do, and that is why they're on the school board. And so as we worked to deal with the 5 board member turnover and coming together as a governance team, the school board together said, we got to do something. We need some help. We need some training. We need to make ourselves the most highly functioning school board that we can be. And that takes time. That doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in the blink of an eye just because we want it. It takes time, and it takes hard work, and it takes effort. And just like professional athletes or even amateur athletes, you need a coach. Tiger Woods, one of the greatest athletes of all time in golf, has a coach. Michael Jordan, basketball, greatest athlete, has a coach. People who want to get good at something invest in themselves and have a coach.
And so the school board, in their wisdom, knew that probably the best thing they could do was get a coach for themselves. And so we found a coach. Actually, there is one very smart person who knew that boards could and should have a coach, and that is AJ Craybill. So AJ Craybill wrote a book about school boards and what school boards should be doing in order to be highly effective. And that book is called Great on Their Behalf. And there have been a number of books now that AJ has written after that. But we had the great luck to have AJ Craybill agree to come alongside us as a board coach to help us in our work so that we could keep that laser-like focus on student achievement and become great on their behalf. And so it is my pleasure to introduce AJ Craybill, who is our keynote speaker for tonight.
Good morning. Good morning. I work with a lot of school boards across the country, and so I was at a school board meeting, and after about a 45-minute debate, vicious, aggressive debate, one of the board members slams his fist on the dais and says, "I am philosophically opposed to non-yellow school buses." Yeah, I thought it was funny too. I didn't realize that the paint color choices was like the critical issue that the school board had to attend to that day. But this is what I was hearing. This is what I was hearing. And while you chuckle, that's not the crazy part of the story. So over the following 2 weeks, the superintendent in that district, his team went together. They started researching, they started engaging, they started gathering information and finding answers. Were they focused on student outcomes? No, what were they researching? Color, paint colors, y'all know what I'm talking about. And then that following week, the local newspaper, they wanted to be part of the action. They put out a story for the editorial board. That was about student outcomes, right? No, what was it about? It's about the color of paint on the school buses. The teachers union, they got involved too. They sent out a survey to all their members. That survey was about student outcomes, right? No! What was it about? The next board meeting, the superintendent and his team give an hour-long overview, a presentation. That presentation is about our students achieving, right? No. Well, what's the hour-long presentation about? The hard part of this conversation is that somewhere in that district, during that 2-week period, there's a young child somewhere in that district who was struggling. I'll call him little AJ. And somewhere in that district, little AJ was struggling, and what he just needed a little bit of help to get over the hurdle, because learning is hard sometimes, right? But what he was looking forward to was support from his teacher. And his teacher wanted to provide him with the support he needed that week to get over that hurdle, but the teacher was struggling. The teacher just needed a little bit of support to grow in their effectiveness, to grow in the craft. The teacher deeply cared about children, but they needed a little bit of support. And they were expecting that support to come from the principal. But the principal that week was struggling, and the principal needed some support. They needed a little bit of extra guidance, a little extra coaching, so they could be the principal that their teachers most needed them to be. The principal was counting on that support coming from the superintendent. Did the principal get the support they needed that week? Did the teacher get the support they needed? Did little AJ get the support they needed? The message here is that what happens in the boardroom echoes in the classroom. That what the board chooses to focus on, those who subscribe to the board's leadership wind up focusing on as well. And so the board is focused on the colors of paint in the school system. What are they inspiring their school system to be focused on? And children suffer in that moment. And what's possible for children in that classroom, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. And it's not because the board members don't care about children. Those board members care about children every bit as much as everybody in this room does. And it's not because the superintendent was incompetent. The superintendent had all the competence in the world. What matters in this moment is what is the leadership going to choose to focus on? And when leaders choose to focus on that which matters most, are our children growing in the knowledge and skills necessary to live a choice-filled life? And what becomes possible for our children expands a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more each day. Leadership matters. The focus of leadership matters. What leaders choose to pour their time, effort, and energy into makes a difference. And so the thing to be paying attention to as members of this community is, what does our school board choose to focus on? Do we have the board that's focused on the color of paint, or whatever the other exciting, spicy issue of the day might be? Or do we have a board that spends the majority of their time really dedicated to interrogating, is little AJ getting what he deserves in this classroom? And what supports do our teachers need? And what supports do our principals need to get there? And how are we moving all of our resources in the direction of supporting our children so they can live a choice-filled life, where they can take care of their needs and needs of their loved ones and needs of their community as a whole? Either the board will focus on these things or your children will suffer. This is the inevitable outcome of leadership. This is the impact of leadership. I was at my godson's house a few years back, and his father and I were just sitting on the couch having a conversation. And I look up, and he's about 3 years old at this time, and I see him kind of coming into the living room, kind of stealth mode, right? And I'm watching, where his eye is looking, and I'm seeing that he is focused in on the end of the coffee table where his father's wallet is, and sticking out of that wallet is a $100 bill. Now, I'm not too good with kids, so I'm thinking just knock the kid over, grab the wallet, and be done with it. But that's not what his father does. That's not what his father does. His father does something that still resonates with me to this day. He simply goes around the corners of the kitchen, grabs a slice of cake on a plate, and sets that plate on the opposite end of the coffee table. Now this 3-year-old has an incredibly important life choice. Do I choose the $100 bill, or do I choose cake? All right, people, talk to me. What did the 3-year-old choose? Cake. Why did the 3-year-old choose cake? You can put it in your mouth and find out. 3-year-olds know what to do with cake. They mess up their cake real quick. Why did the 3-year-old choose cake?
Doesn't know the value of the 100 yet.
Doesn't know the value of the $100 bill. I know the value of cake. Why did with all the wisdom available to a 3-year-old, why did the 3-year-old choose cake? Anybody, talk to me. It's delicious. I don't know. Maybe they tasted $100 bills like this ain't great. With all the wisdom available to a 3-year-old, in that moment, when offered the opportunity to choose between that which might have lasting value and that which is tasty and sweet in the moment, the 3-year-old chooses cake. And we laugh about the story, but as I begin to reflect on my own life, I notice there are moments when my choosing takes on the wisdom of a 3-year-old. Where I'm presented with that which has lasting value, that which can really be invested into growing, and that which is sweet in the moment. There are moments when as adults we are faced with the same ultimate conundrum. Will I choose $100 or will I choose cake? In this community, you've already, in some ways, passed part of this test with measures L and M and saying, you know what, we want to put our treasure where our heart is also. But this is not the only test. The test is also where you put your time. Just like the board is choosing to focus on student outcomes and the board choosing to focus on paint, where your time is, there your heart is also. And so it is one thing to vote and say, we will invest resources, and I'm grateful to you for that. It shows a wisdom that transcends 3-year-old. But where you invest your time also fundamentally comes down to the same challenges. Will we choose a $100 bill, or will we choose cake? For the board, it means will we find it in ourselves the discipline necessary to actually focus on our children growing, our children learning? Or will we be distracted by whatever the drama of the day is? And there will always be a drama every single day. When you got 15,000 kids, it's going to be something popping off somewhere. But the same thing is true for us as community members. Is will we invest our time in ways that matters? Will we show up to volunteer when the call goes out? Will we get invested as CASAs, as big brothers and big sisters, as booster club members? Will we show up at the buildings? Will we read to 3rd graders? Will we spend time with teenagers? Will we make that investment? Will we choose that which has lasting value? Or will we choose cake? Will we choose to sit back and watch and hope it all turns out, and when it doesn't, we fortunately have 7 board members to blame for it? This is the path of cake, and it is sweet, but it does not create lasting value. This is the word that I came today to just share with you, is that there is an opportunity here. The performance of the school system is not yet where you want it to be and where your children deserve for it to be. You don't need me to tell you that, you can see the data for yourselves. But there is possibility here. There's community that is looking at what is going on. There is leadership that is interrogating this and saying, there is lasting value that can be harnessed here if we're willing to focus on the things that matter most. And the board's willingness to focus is critical. Your nudge on them to stay focused on what matters most is critical as well. Will you come to board meetings? Will you visit with your board members? Will you remind them, hey, look, I hear you talking about pay codes. I hear you eating cake. But right now, I need you to focus on that which matters most. This is the opportunity that you have to make a difference in the lives of your children. It's to not only get involved in the ballot box, but get involved personally. Whether through volunteering directly with children, or showing up to support the work of your school board in person and challenging them. Focus on the thing that matters most. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, AJ. Well said. Are we going to focus on the things that matter most? I'm going to move these stands, and then we're going to get into the presentation to look at what are those things that matter most in PVUSD, and where do we need to turn our attention to as we move forward in the 25-26 school year. So when I came on board in May of 2024, I started with a very rigorous look, listen, and learn campaign. I went to all the schools, I went to all the Rotaries, I went to all the different clubs around PVUSD, I went to chamber meetings, anywhere people would have me, I tried to be, and I asked two questions. What is working well, and what is not working? And what are things we need to pay attention to? And based on those things, we came up with 1, a mission statement, 2, a vision statement, and then we also focused on our strategic goals. We had thousands of inputs, and we went through 11 versions of revisions to come up with what you're seeing right here, our collective why on each side, and also our strategic goals for the 24-27 through 27 school year. So our collective why is a mission statement, a big lofty statement of what we want to accomplish for our students. And that is that we want to educate and support learners in reaching their highest potential. We want to prepare students to pursue successful futures and to make positive contributions to the community and global society. We do not want to look at the colors of paint on a bus, like AJ said. We want them to be successful in the things that we do best in education, which is read, write, and do math, if we put it very simplistically. Just to get a little snapshot of where we are in PVUSD now, by the numbers, we have 31 schools. If you maybe noticed, that is down 2 schools from last year, because we did close 2 schools last year. We closed our virtual academy, and we closed Pacific Coast Charter School. We reopened those under a different model, more programmatic models. We have 16 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, 3 comprehensive high schools, 3 charter schools, 2 alternative schools, and an adult education schools. We have 14,500 roughly students. That is down from 18,000 students, and that is the declining enrollment we've spoken of. In our heyday, around 2017, we had about 18,000 students. That's a significant decline over the last several years. And we have a total of 2,373 staff, making PVUSD one of the largest employers in Santa Cruz County. 54% of our students are English learners, and 16% of our students are students with a disability. That is down 1% from last year, and that's a good thing. That means that we are exiting students from special education services, which means that we are meeting their needs in a better way.
We have 81% of our students who are living in poverty. That's a lot. Santa Cruz County's demographics have changed, which means that our needs are greater than ever. And in our national forecast and what's happening nationally, that is a big concern. And when we have that many students in poverty, education becomes paramount. And then we have 7% of our population that is migrant. And that plays a big part in what is happening for our attendance. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So that's us by the numbers. When I did my Look, Listen, and Learn, like I said, we developed our strategic goals for the next 3 years. So we are in our second year of our strategic goals, and these were developed with inputs from thousands of people, and like I said, 11 versions that we developed over time. There are 5 main categories that you'll see of these strategic goals, and these 5 categories are not by happenstance. They actually align with the 5 major areas of focus in a school district. So one area is always and first and foremost academics, powerful learning. The next is professional learning. We have to educate everyone in the system to be able to do their best by students. Third, we want to always create a climate and culture of welcoming for our students. Fourth, we have to look at fiscal responsibility and making sure that we're solvent and that we spend our finances wisely and to educate students first and foremost. And lastly, our human resources. So these were goals. Under each is a long list of different pieces that every single person in our district owns. Every person is a part of these goals, and every person owns them and is working towards being the best that we can be in PVUSD on behalf of our students. We have a budget that helps us to reach all of these goals, and this is a look at PVUSD budget. We run a $359 million budget, and that is exclusive of our bond. We do have a $315 million bond that is for our facilities only, so this does not include that bond. The $359 million that you see here is inclusive of 2 types of funding. We have unrestricted funding, that is our salaries, that is all the money we use for our salaries, and then we have restricted funding, and that funding is funding that we can only use in certain ways, like for professional development, for our teachers. Those are our title funds that are meant to help students who need a little extra boost in certain areas. So when you look at this circle, it helps to understand how we spend our money in different categories. So of that total circle, it represents both our restricted dollars and our unrestricted dollars. So 80% of the money that we are allocated is spent in salaries. That's when you combine the restricted and unrestricted. If you look at just our unrestricted dollars, just the money we get for salaries, we spend 92% of those dollars on salaries and benefits for our employees. So we're really driven, most of our money goes to people, because it's our people who run our district and who educate our students. 13% of those dollars we receive are for operating costs, keeping the lights on, keeping the grounds mowed, for food and nutrition for our students, and 7% goes to books and supplies. You can see how on salaries we break out the different amounts for our certificated staff. Certificated staff are the people who work directly with the students. Our classified staff, those are the staff who work in nutrition services and maintenance and operations, anyone who is not working directly with the student. And then our district and certificated management, and then our classified management. Those are the smallest percentages of our salary and benefits. We are in a fiscal crisis in PVUSD. We have had our declining enrollment going down for many, many years, and we have failed to address our declining enrollment. It is really challenging to address declining enrollment because we always want to keep all the things for our students. We want to have all the services for our students because we love our students.
We want the best for them. And it's really difficult to have to pare back. But that is where we're at. And that is not a PVUSD problem. It is a statewide problem. We are not the only school district facing these challenges. People are leaving California in droves. You read all the time about school districts facing these same challenges in California. It is everywhere. We happen to have some of the worst declining enrollment in Santa Cruz County compared to the rest of California. And PVUSD, being the largest district in Santa Cruz County, is experiencing declining enrollment at a greater rate. Declining enrollment is due to a couple of factors in PVUSD. One is a declining birth rate. People are not having children at the same rate that they were many years ago. And then also the affordability. So it's very expensive, as we all know, anyone living here, we all know that it's very expensive to live here. But then we have a third challenge, and that challenge is immigration. And even just in the last year, and we'll talk about that when we look at our attendance rates, what has happened with the ICE raids has really caused a great fear in this community, and so that is also having some impact on our enrollment as well. So when enrollment goes down, our revenues go down, and we need less services for our students, and we have to make adjustments. And when it goes down in these huge numbers, the reductions we have to make are drastic. And it was really a challenge and not an easy time in leadership to do that. So we have a QR code that's there. I encourage anyone in this room to please take a look at that QR code. It takes us to budget updates about PVUSD. There's a lot of information that you'll be reading about in the newspapers, and not all of it is exactly accurate. This QR code does take you to the accurate information about our budget. We've gone out to all of our school sites, to all of different organizations to present information about where we're at and the supports that we need right now. And we also have a frequently asked question update that people send in questions and we answer the questions, and we update that every 2 weeks as we try to educate the community. So I encourage you to use this as a resource. So it's not all doom and gloom though. I know that was like a little bit heavy right there for a minute, but we have a very innovative and creative team who is looking at ways to address our declining enrollment and to think through how do we look at this problem and bring students in, but also how do we attract other ways of gaining revenue. We had a school board who did ask for creativity around this, and I am pleased to say I think we've delivered, but these things do take some time. So, one of the things that can really help a school district in enrollment and also in revenue is attendance. So, not everyone realizes, number one, is we are funded per our students who attend our schools. Our enrollment, it's called our average daily attendance. So it's not just the number of students in our schools that help with our funding, but it is also how often those students come to school. And we don't really like to talk about that very often because we don't like to think of our students as revenue. I do not like to do that, but that is actually a fact. That is how we are funded in all of California, the state of California, and their infinite wisdom. That is our funding source. And so we launched, but actually having attendance does help in two ways because it is also linked to achievement. So we're going to talk about that next. And that is really the primary focus. But we did launch an attendance campaign, and last year we had our students design the attendance campaign. They came up, a student came up with the slogan. She did not let us know who she was. We had no idea who she was till November. It was anonymous, and we had these signs all over the place and t-shirts all over the place with her slogan on it, and we had no idea for months and months who the student was, and finally in November she came forward and said, "It's me, I'm the one who came up with that." And we were like, "Oh my gosh, how have you felt like running around town seeing all of these signs that you designed?" And it was really exciting.
This year, though, I think that students got a little more excited, like, wow, I could have the attendance campaign and these signs could be mine. And so this time, no one was anonymous on that. They all announced that it was them. Yes, so here is our student right here. She's from Cesar Chavez Middle School. And our slogan today, I know, so she came up with the slogan. It was put forward and voted on, the whole community voted on it, and our slogan is attend today, achieve tomorrow. You'll see these signs all over town. We made thousands of them and we handed them out, and we really want everyone to get behind attending school. And not just because it's revenue generating, but you cannot achieve if you're not attending school. You cannot learn if you are not in the seat. And one thing that happened during COVID that was very interesting is we told everyone to stay home. Don't come to school. And our parents were actually kind of mad about that, and they lost a little bit of faith in us because we were saying stay home. But then after a while, they got used to staying home, and everyone got used to staying home. And then all of a sudden now we're saying come back, and we're sending very mixed messages, which, as everyone knows, that's a big no-no, don't send mixed messages, but that's what we've done. And so now we're working very hard to tell people, no, you need to be back, and you need to be back in school. Last year I joked, like, you know, if you're shopping in Target and it's the school hours and you see students who look school age and they're not in school, you need to stop and tell them, why aren't you in school? So it's a community effort, please. If you see kids during the school day, like you leave here right now and you see students who aren't there, please tell them to get back in school. And by the way, can everyone make sure the students who are performing get their attendance taken today? So one of the things that we're also doing to boost attendance is we're trying to be very creative around attendance. So I'm not joking about today, because today is one of what we call our all-in days. So in trying to make attendance fun, and trying to get students back in the idea of coming to school, once a month we are trying to hit what no district has ever done before, a 98% district-wide attendance. We've not done it yet, but we keep trying every once a month. So today is one of those all-in days where we're trying to hit district-wide 98% attendance. And we do little gimmicky things to try to make it fun for students to be there on that particular day. And we're very strategic. Mondays and Fridays are our lowest days of attendance, so we always do these all-in days on a Monday or a Friday to boost the attendance on those days. And so I think today's encouragement to be there is wear a flannel, get cozy. A lot of the schools are offering hot chocolate to bring the kids in. So we're doing a lot of things creatively to try to improve things in PVUSD. And have some fun too. So you can see the little flyer here that says thankful to be here. That's an advertisement for today's all-in day. As you see on the bottom, our annual attendance rates and the trend that happened. So pre-COVID, we were at 93, almost 94% attendance, and then look what happened. We've tanked. Last year, we were on track to have been at 94% attendance. That was in what we call P1, our first reporting time. And look at what our outcome was at the end. That was the impact from ice and the ice raids. It was really unfortunate, and those are some of the impacts that we have to deal with here in Pajaro Valley. That's okay. This year's a new year. We're going to persevere. So these are our academic reporting in English language arts and math as measured by the state of California. So I want you to take a moment to look at that just on your own. We do a thing that was taught to us by Harvard, data-wise, and it's just called I notice and I wonder, where we don't make any comments, we just look at the data and you think in your head, I notice, or I wonder. So I just want you to do in your mind, one I notice, and one I wonder. Okay. Do I have one person who wants to share an I notice? Chrissy McLean, do you want to share an I noticed with us?
Sure. My partner here noticed that PVUSD was underperforming in English and math compared to the state of California. And I'm assuming somebody else is going to do a wonder, or can I do a wonder?
I'll choose someone for I wonder. So we noticed that PVUSD is underperforming in English compared to the rest of California. That was the I noticed, yeah. Okay. Do I have a volunteer for a I wonder? Tony.
I wonder what sort of changes or improvements you made in order to see that improvement in English language arts.
It's almost like I paid you right there.
Checks
It's
in
the
the
perfect,
mail, send it to the hospital.
I'll donate. I love it. That's the perfect lead-in. So I wonder what we can do to improve. And so one of the things we're doing to improve is the work that AJ described earlier, is a focus on our effective school board framework, which is a relentless focus on student outcomes, but specifically looking at a strategic realignment. How do we design systems that will support our students to do their best learning? And so some of that is our curriculum and instruction and professional development department that we created 18 months ago. And Claudia Monjares, over there in the corner, has been working diligently to redesign the professional development for our teachers. So the only way that we are going to change the outcomes for our students is to change what's happening in our classrooms and relentlessly pursue helping our teachers to be more effective in the classroom. So this year we designed a handbook for our teachers, all focused on curriculum, all focused on research-based practices in the classroom, and we are only asking 3 things of our teachers this year, just 3, and get really good at 3 things that are research-based. And we are providing targeted professional development on those 3 things. So the first thing is board-adopted curriculum. All of our teachers need to be using what our board has adopted for our curriculum, and they need to use that so that they can have what's called teacher collective efficacy. And that is a huge research-based effect size for powerful learning in the classroom. 2, our teachers need to have what's called teacher intent, that they know very specifically what they are teaching to their students and what each child needs to learn at the end of every lesson, at the end of every week, at the end of every month, and at the end of every year. And then 3, that teachers have teacher clarity. And teacher clarity means that they are crystal clear with their students on what students are learning in the moment. And those are the 3 things we're focused on this year. Additionally, we are strategically investing in our students. We have career and technical education that we're focused on at the high school level. We have 27 pathways for our students within career and technical education. We know that not all students are college bound, but that they definitely should have choice, whether it's college and career or just career. And so we're building out these pathways so students have those choices. But also this is one of our board policies, is that every student take a career, a CTE pathway class. We also have invested, and this is really exciting, this is new this year, in the science of reading. So all of our elementary teachers, starting this year, are being trained in the science of reading, which is a 2-year course of reading to help our teachers become experts in how to teach reading to students. It was really, really rare for a teacher to get that type of learning once they're in the classroom. It's almost next to impossible to be able to do that once a teacher is in the classroom, because the time investment is so hard. Once you're in the classroom, you're teaching. And the science of reading is something that is relatively new. in education. I mean, it's been around for a long time, but getting it to teachers is relatively new. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Mississippi Miracle, but Mississippi trained their teachers in this letters, science of reading, and now Mississippi is the top performing state for their students in reading. So what we've done is we've brought the Mississippi Miracle to our teachers this year. And how we're doing it is we're investing in them. We are actually paying them for their time to engage in this learning, ensuring that PVUSD teachers within 3 years will be the most highly trained teachers in our county. And within a number of years, our students are definitely going to be showing the benefits of having highly trained teachers in reading. So we're really excited about this initiative. It's huge. It really is and will be life-changing for our students. So yeah, that's a big win. Just to illustrate that one a little bit more, our state did pass this as legislation that all teachers must leave college now prepared and trained in this. But that's teachers coming out of the workforce. That's not our current teachers. And so it will be years before any other district catches up to that. And we found a way to get our teachers trained now so that our students will benefit now. So this is really huge for our district. It is huge for our district. And in addition to that, we're looking at ways that we're bringing back students to our district by offering unique programs. So we started in early college where students at Pajaro Valley High School are able to earn an AA simultaneously with a high school degree in partnership with Cabrillo. That's a program. It's in its first year this year, and the first of its kind in Santa Cruz County. So we're really excited. That work was done in under 8 months. Julie Edwards helped with that. We have great partnership with Cabrillo, and we're really proud of that work. And it's opening doors for us at our other high schools now too. Dual enrollment is happening on campus at Aptos High School with their calculus class as we speak. And so as we expand that partnership with Cabrillo, we're expanding opportunities for our students. All right, and then Measure M. In May, when I came in May of 2024, our board put Measure M on the ballot, and we had 70 days to run a campaign. It was the quickest campaign you ever saw, but because of so many people in this room, we got that Measure M passed, and because of all the voters in this room, Measure M, a $315 million bond, a super bond, passed. And thank you, voters. I mean, that is so huge. My previous community, Modesto City Schools, they had passed a bond, a $95 million bond. That's a 30,000 school district, 30,000 student school district. When I told them, oh yeah, we're trying to pass this $315 million bond, they said, what? Are you crazy? That's never going to pass. And I was like, oh. And then it passed. I called them, ha ha ha. But thank you, voters. That is huge. That was a tremendous lift. Our district has $1.2 billion of need. And so to have this and get started on this is huge. You can see some of what we've done with Measure M. Our field at Watsonville High, we had a ribbon cutting at Landmark. Desi alluded to our ribbon cuttings that he's been able to speak at. It's so much fun. There's so much research on good facilities do actually lead and translate to better student achievement. So that's exciting. We just got our first installment of $98 million deposited into our account at SCO. So super excited about that. And we've done really well with our bond sales. So I was actually in the stock market, so this is really fun. Now because of how we can do things online, I actually got to go into the stock exchange and watch our bonds sell. And because of the way we sold our bonds, and the timing that we used, and because of the experts we brought on to help us, we saved our taxpayers $4 million when we sold our bonds. Yeah. doing really good with our bond measure. That's a really exciting thing. That $98 million just came. We just approved our master plan for our facilities, which is a part of what is necessary in order to get going on the bond. And so we're about ready to get the next step of approval at our December board meeting, and away we'll go, and we're gonna see some great and exciting things happening in our school district. So while we are at a time of great challenges because of the budget and the decisions that we have to make, we are also at a time and at a precipice where we are going to be doing great things, and we are going to see the outcomes for PVUSD change. I know that we will, because we have the right team in place. We have a school board who's dedicated to improving student outcomes. We have a board coach who is coming alongside us to show us things that we never knew how to do before, and a formula and a roadmap for doing it. We have elected officials who believe in us and are willing to support us in ways that I've never seen before in elected officials in my previous experiences. And we have a community that comes alongside us in ways that I've also never experienced before. And you can see our ecosystem of our community partners that are here for PVUSD. And so I know and I believe wholeheartedly that because of all those supports, because of the people in this room, because of the teachers in our classroom who believe in our students, and because of all of the employees who are dedicated to seeing this district succeed, that we are going to be doing great things for our kids despite the challenges that we have. And so with that, I thank all of you for your continued support, for being here today, and for believing in all of us with your voting, with your presence, and with your continued leveraging just who you are to support us in the work that we do for kids. Thank you. Oh, and also, we have a tagline this year, is be kind. So we're seeing a lot of not kindness in our national world, and we made t-shirts for them with a beautiful design on the back. We have distributed these to all of our schools, and you see them around, and we really want to rep the brand because we think we need a lot of kindness around. And so we encourage all of you, they're all on the back table on your way out. Please take one, wear them with pride, wear them everywhere. Yes, Dan over here, he's showing you the model. Be like Dan. And there's still some fruit and coffee and all of that, and help yourself. Thank you.